Hey guys, Nestletter Magic here, and it's time for Day 7 of Kaldheim spoilers. I know some of you may not have the fortitude to make it through this entire set of spoilers alive, but for those of you that we lose along the way, who don't make it to the end of this absolute death slog through card design hell, you will be remembered for your bravery from the attempt. So first up, we got another stupid elf. It's Sentinela da Haspera. The Portuguese do the J thing, right? Anyway, this is a elf rogue. Wait, hold on. The Portuguese word for a thief that breaks into your house and steals shit is ladino. Is it really? That sounds suspiciously like another word. Anyway, it's a 1-2 for 1, which that's just great. That's exactly what the elves needed. Plus, we totally needed another rogue in the game, although as if, the existing unbeatable blue-black deck would add green just for this, but it does have reach, which is nice. And then it has tap an untapped creature you control, add 1 mana. So you tap this, tap another thing, get 1 mana out of the both of them tapping. So, it's a lot for 1. It's not a very good card, but it's a lot for 1. At the end of the day, this will just help get more elves out quicker. So, I could see people playing this in Elf Tribal. Maybe not like modern great elves, but, standard. Next up, we've got Mentor de Matantiga. It's an elf warrior. I guess elf party might be a thing. Boy, that just sounds like a nightmare. It's a 3-2 for 4, though. Okay. And the winner enters battlefield, create a 1-1 green elf warrior creature token. So just your average elf ball card. Costing 4, that's up there. Even for a 2 for 1, that's up there. Next up, we've got Squash. Boy, I gotta say, between all the factions, I feel like the Giants have it, let's be honest. Every time a Giant is on an instant or sorcery, they are absolutely wrecking the other team. But this is a 5-cost red instant, and it costs 3 less to cast if you control a Giant, so just utterly unplayable outside of a Giant's deck. And then it deals 6 damage to target creature or planeswalker, but not the opponent's life total, because that would be a lot. Pretty fair card. Honestly, it basically would cost 2. To do 6 damage. That's removal. If one thing is big enough to get in the way of a Giant, you gotta wonder if 6 would be enough to kill it, though. And then, 6 would be overkill to take out like a 1-1 Death Toucher, which is like the enemy of Giants. But, it's 2 mana. Like, 2 mana and it's gone. Like, you don't think about the 6. You just think, I spent 2 mana in a card and that is no longer a threat. That's the way you should think about it. Next up, we got Cinder Shadow Gaming, Canadian Giant. He's large, in charge, and Canadian. Anyway, it's a 7-cost 7/6 Giant Berserker with Trample. Yeah, that sounds about right. I get the feeling he never stands up as like a frame of reference, but I feel like he's really tall. I'll have to ask him. But it is Trample, and when it dies, it deals 7 damage to a creature an opponent controls chosen at random. Which, by the way, that totally reminds me of the way that my DM in D&D always handles really large, tall creatures. He'll always roll a die, like, 8-sided, I guess it would be, and then that's them tipping over as they die, because, they're like 500 to 1,000 pounds, so you wouldn't want that falling on you. And if it falls your direction, because, there's 8 directions, 4 diagonals, 4, cardinal directions or whatever, then you've got to make like an athletics check to like jump out of the way, and if you don't, you take like 12 damage or something. And that's exactly what this is supposed to be. That's amazing. I love it. And I also am just a big fan of when they put on creatures the F you, like I'm taking you down with me death trigger. Now, that doesn't apply to, and by the way, I'm resurrecting. Oh, by the way, you killed a 6/6 worm, now you get 2 3/3 worms. No, that's crap, okay? I'm sick of that. I like the, I'm dying, but fine, I'm pulling one of you down with me, or I'm going to deal you 2 damage straight to your face, or, I'm leaving a 1/1 here in my place, or a spirit or something. And, besides just flavor, where it's like, I'm getting revenge on you, it's like, it helps you come back from heavy control, from a board wipe, from, they just, did back-to-back kill spells or something. You get a little bit of a refund out of it. And that actually makes games more fair. Your big threat is gone, but it's like, okay, something softened the blow a little bit. That's going to help me maybe climb my way back up. Your opponent probably now has the advantage, but it keeps the game closer. Even if your opponent was going to win the whole time and their deck is just overwhelming you, it makes you think that the game was closer than it was. And it makes the game feel more fair. And that results in happier players who don't feel like it was just an absolute control-a-thon blowout. So they need to print more stuff like that. I wouldn't exactly call 7 damage to a creature subtle, but I mean, you invested 7 in this. It's a 7/6 trampler. If they got rid of it, that is a big threat that they got rid of. They deserve to basically lose a creature. So I absolutely love this card. Plus they printed it at common, which is hilarious. Oh, and I should mention, Crystalline Giant, the 3-drop that gives itself all those random counters that are ability counters. That thing, first of all, it's 3. Secondly, it's colorless. And third, it is actually a giant. So that whole blow up everything but a giant thing, I would invest heavily in that card. I still think giants are too expensive to like get going, but they have all these reductions. They got all these crazy like, wizardy tricks and stuff. If they were to take off, it will be by far the dominant deck. And let me just say, if they do something about Mill, if they do something about Rogues, and if they do something about Zenith Flare cycling, this will be probably the next strongest contender. I don't know, Elf Tribal, it's faster, it's cheaper. But I think I'm projecting the power of Elf Tribal from like Modern onto Standard. I just don't see it right now as we're looking at it. But we also haven't seen all the cards yet. Speaking of that, we haven't seen all the giants yet. But a board wipe that leaves every single one of your creatures in play and blows up every creature they own, yikes. With Crystalline Giant filling up the 3 slot, I mean, you can afford with that thing to do nothing for the first 2 turns. And remember, we've got all kinds of land fetch and crap, and one of the giant colors is a little bit green, not in this set, but in Standard. So fear the giants. I think we're gonna see some stuff. I mean, you might look at giants and just say, that looks like one giant target where I'm gonna get immense value out of individual kill spells. Which, if you amplify the effect of my kill spells, well, sounds like a good way to lose to me, and rogues could trash a giant deck. I don't care what you say. But if they do something about that and people move towards something else, oh boy, this is going to be spicy. So don't write giants off yet. I just wanted to throw that in because I've been kind of dumping on giants until we kind of saw this and somebody kind of built like a precursor giant deck and I played against it today on Arena and I was shocked. It was doing very well. I kicked its ass, but it was doing really well before Kaldheim even came out. So next up, we got Dusk Wielder. It's a 1-cost elf berserker. It has boast 1. Target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And it's a 1/2. Another 1-cost elf. I mean, that boast ability is pretty good. It would make you wanna, chump block this and kill it, but it's a 1/2. Like, how hard is that? So I'd rather have a boast that's like in the middle, like a 3/3, 4/4, something like that. I think a 1/2, that's kind of silly, but I don't know, you could just consider this an early game trap for somebody to like burn their kill spell on a stupid 1-cost when you know there's better elves coming. When in reality, there are 2 1s for 1. I mean, there's 3 1s for 2. I mean, an extra 1 damage plus healing is not the end of the world. And a couple turns later, you probably have a creature big enough to kill this. So if somebody's like, oh, I can't stand that burn away ability, I gotta use my kill spell on this. No. So I think this card is kind of a trap. Next up, we got Boreal Wanderer. It's a giant wizard for 5, and when it enters the battlefield, tap target artifact or creature an opponent controls. If snow mana was used to cast this spell, snow plus giant, I don't know about that, we haven't really seen that yet. That creature artifact doesn't untap during the player's next untap step, aka the freeze effect, so no surprises there. That's a pretty vanilla giant, and it's only a 4/4 for 5. I mean, I don't see it. Next up, we got Kain Harold's Revenge. Everybody remember Harold from the memes? That old guy from the stock photography thing? Yeah, that guy's awesome. Anyway, this card is pretty nuts, but it doesn't work the way you think. You got to read it really carefully. So it's a 3-cost sorcery, and until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control and gains trample. That's huge. And then it must be blocked this turn of Fable. I think with that exact phrasing, only one of the defending creatures has to block it. It just must be blocked. But then there's the other phrasing on like that Chimera right now, and my god, did somebody wreck me with that deck on Arena, where that one says all creatures able to block this do, which means everything else is getting through completely free, just free and clear. So, I mean, Elder Gargaroth, boom, you're getting hit by that. And remember, this set has Boast, so it's like, okay, you get a free and clear swing, like that's not bad. Although, I mean, if they have 5 blockers, all they have to do is throw 1 at it, but remember, +1/+1 for each creature you control. A blocker is being taken away from whatever else is on your line, and this creature just got bigger and gained trample. They might have to throw more than 1 blocker at it. So that block coercion might be completely unnecessary. They might have to throw 3 in front of it or they're going to die, you know? But then everything else gets through, and all your boasters, if you have enough mana, you could pay for all the boast abilities because they're, you know, getting away with an attack. So this looks pretty good. I think this would be utterly broken. It would have to be a mythic and it would have to cost 5 if it said all creatures able to block this creature must, because you just assign it to your little dumpy 1/1 token, and then all your actually big creatures get a free swing straight at the life total. I've never liked that effect. It's unbelievably broken and overpowered, but they put it on like an 8-cost Chimera, and I think that's it lately. But I've seen it on lower cost stuff. Usually it doesn't go below 5 though, because it's so unbelievably overpowered. So I'm glad they didn't do that with this one. Next up, Carfell Forerunner. It's a 1/3 zombie wizard snow creature for 2, and if you tap it, it adds 1 blue to your mana pool, but you can only spend this mana on Foretell cards or instants or sorceries. Now, I don't know about this translation, but it says Foretell cards. Shouldn't it say spells? But like either way, cards are basically spells as long as they're not lands. But it doesn't say the abilities of Foretell cards. So I think it literally just means Foretell cards. But it would be considered a Foretell card and a Foretell spell if it's in exile. Oh, but then you're using an ability. Oh, but the ability implies casting it. It's just an alternate casting style ability. You're still casting the spell. I don't know. Who knows? I would assume you could use this to launch a Foretell card from exile or to just straight up cast it and ignore the fact that it has Foretell. That's my reading of it. But also any instant or sorcery, so there's your counterspell too. So, you know. This is why they need to just spoil them in English. They pretend they're so diverse and woke and care about other countries, and then they can't even, you know, manage to hire black people at their company. Next up, Avalanche Caller. It's a 2-cost snow creature human wizard, and if you pay 2, target snow land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with haste and hexproof, hello, until end of turn it's still a land. Ooh, that's pretty spicy. I mean, this is a 1/3 for 2, and then you just pay 2, don't even tap them, and you get a 4/4 elemental with hexproof. They basically have to defeat it in combat then, or like a, instant speed board wipe. I actually have an issue with this, the fact that you pay 2 and it's just no tap, and there's no tap symbol, so I know that that's not a translation error. So, got 8 mana? Okay, you've got 4 4/4s. It's 16 damage for 8 mana on a blue card that costs 2. Does that seem a little nuts to anybody? And I mean, okay, you're risking your lands normally, except, oh wait, they have hexproof. So the thing is, oh, it only works on snowlands. Yeah, who the hell's not going to be running 100% snowlands? You got to be kidding me. There is literally no reason not to run snowlands until they cycle out of standard, unless we see something that says destroy all snowlands or something, which would be hilarious, but still. So yeah, this is pretty damn overpowered. I mean, you could just dump mana into this, and as long as you don't feel that you're unsafely risking your lands, you're just gonna wreck them. And this is blue. Blue is not the big scary giant creature attack color. And plus, this damn card is an uncommon. What the hell were they thinking? This is so broken. At least they put snowland that you control. Otherwise, you could hit one of theirs, hit one of theirs, hit one of theirs, board wipe. Oh, I just board wiped all your creatures and all of your lands. Whoops. That would be a reason not to run snowlands. So next up, we got Battle of Frost and Fire. It's a 5 cost. Okay, that should be spicy. Battle of Frost and Fire deals 4 damage to each non-giant creature and each planeswalker. Okay, another giant exempted board wipe, basically, because we needed 2 of them. That's it. Giants are now the dominant deck. There we go. I mean, rogues can still kick the living crap out of them, but it's number 2 deck in the world right now. I'm calling it because of this card. Then we got Scry 3. Great. And then whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, in other words, a giant, this turn, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. So just a little frosting on top of the shit pile. Blow up everything that isn't a giant. If you haven't won the game at this point, scry 3 to go get a giant. And then the third one, cast a giant and get a reward for it. Ridiculous. We did not need another the giants are exempt board wipe. We really didn't. And then 4 damage to each creature is in the board wipe. Yes, it is. Shut up. You're wrong. Next up, Cyclone Summoner, a 7-cost giant wizard, which really is just a reminder of why giants might not take off. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, return all permanents except giants, wizards, and lands to their owner's hands. Yep, so it costs 7, so it's borderline unplayable, especially in blue. Let me modify that, especially in blue-red, the giant colors. But it's basically a board wipe. So we got board wipe number 3 that doesn't affect giants. Wow, they are trying to wreck this standard meta. Next up, Draugr's Helm. It's a 2-cost artifact equipment. When Draugr's Helm enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, create 2 black zombie berserker creature tokens, then attach Draugr's Helm to... create a 2/2 black zombie berserker creature token and attach Draugr's Helm to it. And then equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has menace and equip 4. So once again, way too expensive of an equip cost. And then they do like a almost one and done kind of, free equip. But not really, because you got to pay 5 total. So, I mean, yeah, it's +2/+2, but, for 5, that's kind of crap, and to toss it around for 4, that's kind of crap. So, free creature, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a 4/4, which isn't that good. I mean, menace, 4/4 with menace, okay, but for 5, I don't know. I mean, you strap this to something huge, and you have the mana to pay the equip 4, you're going to get some results out of it, but, I mean, people just tend not to play equipment that has equip above 3. I need to remind you, this is not in, white, red, dwarf equipment vehicle, colors. So that's out. Next up, Wings of the Cosmos. It's a 1-cost instant, and target creature gets +1/+3 and gains flying until end of turn. Untap it. That's just a nice little ambush block. I almost wish it was +2/+2 or something, but it's supposed to intercept and, stop something. I don't know, your 2/2 ain't gonna kill a giant, but it might survive for a turn, and just surviving for a turn and then not really solving the problem isn't worth a card in my opinion, but this is still kind of cool. By the way, those other wolves are so jealous. Next up, Funeral Longboat. It's a 2-cost 3/3 vigilance with crew 1. So that's just kind of nice, I guess. You gotta crew it on defense too, though, but whatever. Next up, Gold Vein Pick. It's a 2-cost equipment, and equipped creature gains +1/+1, and it does have equip 1, which is nice. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure. Oh, I like that. I like everything about this. This is appropriately costed, it's hyper powerful, but it doesn't run away with the game, and you can only use treasures once. So if you bring out some big spell and it gets countered, you bring out some big creature and, well, let's be honest, it gets countered, or it gets killed immediately. Oh well, single-use mana is a lot more fair than just straight land fetch. I mean, I think we've learned that from Uro decks. Not to mention landfall. Next up, whatever the hell this says in French. Now, I've never been to France, but for those of you who have, is everything there this blurry? Seriously, if somebody did this, if this was your card game, and you printed the font at like 1 point, and their handling of this 1-point font card was to show it to the internet as a whole, this blurry, like literally unreadable, would you ever send them another spoiler ever again? I wouldn't. It's like the "you had one job" meme. Your only job was to show people this card, and you failed at showing people this card because, I don't know, you showed it on a shit webcam, you took a picture of it from 30 feet away after throwing it in your swimming pool. I mean, I don't know. You know what the hell? We've been checking. I'm gonna check who this person is and how they f***ed this up. It was some French metal band called Dagoba, and I guess it was leaked on Twitter somehow, and I can't find the tweet. So, doesn't really explain anything, but yeah, I'll go back to it. You had one job. They said show this card, and all you had to do was show the card, and we got this blurry mess. Anyway, somebody with some kind of like AI learning software plus a microscope translated this for us. I wouldn't put too much faith in the translation. It's Bears of Lijdjara. Oh, that we could read. I thought even in French it was Ursa, not Urs. I don't know, I guess they really went far away from Latin, but yeah, it's a 3-cost Saga. Step 1, create a 2/2 shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. Great. Part 2, any number of target shapeshifter creatures you control have base power and toughness 4/4. Great, fantastic. And then 4 or 3 or whatever the hell we're on. I don't know, I hate this card. Choose a target creature or planeswalker. Each creature with 4 or more power that you control deals damage equal to its power to that permanent. Ouch, well that's dead. Yeah, this is not as bad as I thought, but for 3 mana it is pretty OP. I mean, if you had a swarm of changelings, I don't know even what the hell that would be. They all become 4/4s suddenly, you just rush them and win the game, so that's a little much. Especially considering you're obviously going to slip them into tribal decks, and they're already going to have tribal boosts already. So it's like base power and toughness 4/4, and then, a bunch of Lords cards, a bunch of color boosts. Well, now they're swinging as 7/7s. That could be highly problematic. Next up, we got some more blurry French crap. It's allegedly Mystical Reflections. It's a 2-cost instant in blue, and it's a rare. Oh, this is going to be good. Choose target non-legendary creature. The next time that at least one creature or planeswalker enters the battlefield this turn, they enter as copies of the chosen creature. Holy shit. And then Foretell 1. So obviously, yes, non-legendary, they would all die. I mean, why even say that? You know what? I say let them make the mistake. I wouldn't have printed it on the card. So every single creature that enters the battlefield that turn becomes a clone of it. So whatever your biggest creature is, you dump in a bunch of piddly little whatever. And I didn't hear the phrase non-token anywhere, so that's a disastrous mistake. They all become clones of your giant creature, or the creature with the most toxic ETB trigger, or death trigger, or activated ability, or just anything. This card is a mistake. It's a freaking nightmare, and they're probably going to have to ban it. By the way, you can target your opponent's creatures too, in case I didn't mention that. You gotta wonder what goes through somebody's head when they design a card like this. You really do. And when they spent 2 mana on this instant, they probably won't have enough mana to drop in more than one creature. Yeah, because all token generation and all spells cost mana. Yeah, that must be it. Well, I'm building a deck around this. I'm building a deck around just like cloning. They broke it so badly. Do you really expect me not to? Next up, Battle for Bredagard. It's a 3 cost. I thought we already saw this. I don't know. Create a 1/1 white human warrior creature token, then create an elf token. Yeah, we already saw this. Okay. Choose any number of artifact tokens and or creature tokens you control, different names for each of them. Create a token that's a freaking copy of it. So take every token and clone it unless you have 2 similar tokens, then pick one, I guess. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Next up, Clarion Spirit. It's a 2-cost spirit. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Great. And it's in the blue, white, black control colors. What a coincidence. I wonder if people will cast 2 per turn doing a bunch of control-y shit. Gee, I bet that's exactly what they're gonna do. So next up, we got more filler with Breakneck Berserker. It's a 3-cost, 3/2 Dwarf Berserker with haste. So, yeehaw. Next up, Narfi, Betrayer King. It's a 5-cost, rogue-colored, 4/3 zombie wizard legendary snow creature. And other snow and zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. Oh, good, another Lord's card, although this costs 5, which, I mean, is what they should cost. If you pay 3 snow mana, return Narfi, Betrayer King from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So good luck getting rid of him. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Every time a king dies doesn't mean that he's not going to come back and try and take over the throne. I'm just saying. You got to take the king's body, you got to burn that sucker, all right? You got to torch it. Hey, I just caught a shiny Heatran. Yes, I do remote raids in the middle of recording these. Next up, we've got Agar the Freezing Flame, a legendary giant wizard, but he's only a 3-cost. So, but you got the big 5, 6, 7 fatties, but then when it gets down to business and you got deleters, they're costing 3. And I think that's because, well, absolutely no reason in logic or lore, just because Wizards wants you to play the more powerful ones. And if they want you to play it, it damn well better not cost 6. So this is a 3/3, and whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess damage, oh, here's that again. If a giant wizard or spell you controlled dealt damage to it this turn, so in other words, the entire rest of your deck, draw a card. Okay, so 1/3 of the time you're going to slap down another land off that, which is nice, you know, because you got to get up there to get the giants. The Crystalline Giant and this dude and a couple other 3-cost, okay, cool. But you really want to get into those high numbers. And in this set, the giants ain't green, so you can't just, you know, have all that rampy ramp. So that actually is a good way to do it. Otherwise, if you already have lots of lands or just the other 2/3 of the time, you're probably going to draw a giant or another spell. And then you use the spell to, you know, zap something else and then you get another card. So it keeps it rolling. I mean, it keeps the giant's deck from just doing nothing every other turn and then sometimes slapping in a giant, which would lose. So yeah, I kind of needed this, but I also kind of hate all the asymmetric giant board wipes. If it wasn't for them, I'd be like, yeah, go Giants, you know? Except in the NFL. I will never say that. Screw the Giants. Screw the entire state of New York. I hope that Cuomo or Cuomo or whatever and de Blasio, they all choke on a salmon bone and die. Or get struck by lightning or something. Seriously, the universe needs to correct. The force is too imbalanced towards the darkness. So either, you know, Skywalker's going to show up with a lightsaber or, you know, something's got to happen to balance this shit out. Anyway, the last card in this absolute shit trek that has been the cards today, we've got Fearhuz or Fearjuz or I don't speak Norwegian. Punishment. It's weirdly double white, single black, +1 generic. That's weird. And then you pay 1, create a 4/4 angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. Nice. Then 2, until the end of turn, angels you control gain, tap, destroy target creature with power less than the power of this creature. Oh, that's spicy. We haven't seen anything like that in a long time, if ever. Cue all the longtime players. 17 years ago they printed this, and then I get to see that 100 times in the comment section. Then third, angels you control gain double strike till end of turn. Oh, you had me till the third part, I'm not gonna lie. This just went from, ooh, cool, interesting, good angel card to, f*** you. Well, I'm sick of looking at these. I'm gonna go do literally anything else. I'll see you guys next video.